Or what about when they say, I'm horny?
Search for hotel en route. Please select a PO.
Today we are driving Volkswagen's new flagship EV, the VW ID.7. And not only driving, but also a lot of the interior and all the details and facts you need to know here with Thomas and Autogefühl in 4K, full screen, full length. Let's go with a short look at the exterior, still in this show paint, the standard paint colors we will review to you very soon. Retro look here in the front with this white VW logo, and at the side we can already see the biggest wheels that will be available, the 20-inch wheels right here. The length at 4 meters 96 or 195 inches, so it is indeed a large EV sedan, and everything set, you can see it here on aerodynamics, of course. They want to compete, for example, with the Hyundai Ioniq 6, but of course also attack Tesla with their Model 3 and Model S at the same time, basically. This is supposed to be the new upmarket VW as well. And then you might also think about the premium competition, let's say Mercedes EQE, for example. We'll see if this is the case then on the interior. Rear-wheel drive so far, 286 horsepower in both battery versions. Soon going to talk about the battery and the range. And later on there will also be an all-wheel drive model, probably then the GDX. In the rear you can see that this light strip here will go all the way through. If you want to see the car uncovered, say subscribe and hit the notification bell. As for the battery sizes, 77 kilowatt hours net, or that's the known one, or the new 86 kilowatt hour battery. We look forward to what concise range we will score. We can take first consumption figures today later in the driving part. Here once again the retro style VW logo. Overall it will be a very clean design on the exterior. Some things in the interior are still secret, but we will show you as much as we can. Starting with the key fob, and this one is basically standard Volkswagen as we know it. High gloss black, not my favorite. What about the door closing sound? But here the door handles first, flush integrated, but you have a haptic feedback at the back part like with the ID.4. Door closing sound is okay, nothing special, but not bad at all. Oh, now I closed the vehicle here at the key, sorry about that. And inside of the doors, this is even more exciting because here you have a great build quality indeed. Top part, soft touch, a structure, then high-grade leatherette with blue accentuation. Then there's a bright or dark interior. This is the bright one, and here with bright microfiber. So the build quality here indeed really cool. The door handle here from the inside, oh, ain't that cute? But actually, interesting. Let's see how that one turns out. And the door pockets also covered with felt on the inside. They're stepping up the build quality again. This one also comes with the bright steering wheel. I think it looks amazing, really cool. And it's also animal free. The whole interior does not contain animal materials, and also high recycling share, way to go. Also soft touch at the dashboard. This indeed can easily keep up with the Mercedes interior, for example, or maybe at some point even better. We'll see here, these are the top premium seats. Also here with shoulder accentuations, bright microfiber, also a dark microfiber is available, mainly for the European market. The US will, for example, also get a full high-grade leatherette. So the base seat will be covered in fabric, and then the top seats here, the optional seats, they're covered in microfiber, or we expect high-grade leatherette for the US. But even these seats, they differ somewhat because the premium seat then has more air pads for the seat massage. The Ergo Active Comfort seat has the cushions here in the back part, 10, and then the Ergo Active Premium seat, the optional one, has also air pads here in the lower area that your butt is also moved in the seat massage. Yeah, let's just take it that way. But I think they look amazing and also feel really good from the quality. Seating position here, really unusual from recent Volkswagens. We've seen so many crossovers and so on. Low, but still super comfortable. These seats are amazing indeed. And the premium feeling in this car is really astonishing, even though this is here a very early production model. Important feature, by the way, for longer legs here, both seats, they can be retracted right here. Just makes the lower area longer. Yeah, easy solution. Interior overview will consist of a huge 15-inch screen right here, and these temperature sliders, yes, they are still sliders, but they are now backlit. Then here steering wheel with hashtag capacitive BS on the steering wheel. The gear control is here behind the steering wheel, and then you have a small digital instruments and a head-up display. It also features augmented reality that you can see basically arrows of the GPS system while driving. Middle console, this will be updated in the normal final model. This will be matte surface and also a little bit better from the quality. You can slide this open and you have two USB-C chargers, inductive charging pad, and here's some adaptive cup holders. And then you have this armrest, which has this nice split opening. And this will also be different material quality in the final model, but a lot of space underneath there. In the infotainment system, you have this menu overview. It's a little bit quicker and more responsive than before. It's actually a big improvement, I think. Interesting that this vehicle will be equipped with the DCC optional, dynamic chassis control. That's the adaptive suspension. And according to the driving mode, it goes stiffer then or softer. And then you can also have the fine-tuned individual settings right here. You also have this view available. You can individualize your home menu basically. Then this is the Apple CarPlay integration, wireless, same also accounts for the Android Auto, really impressive. And it will also be equipped with the 14-speaker Harman Kardon sound system, which has a quite bass-rich sound. And what's also interesting, here again how the sliders react, but the air vents, they are without physical control. We know that from Tesla. Control them in this system and then they magically change, so to speak. But if that's really progress, I doubt that. And you also have controls for seat heating and seat cooling. Interesting is there's an intelligent control with a moist sensor in the seat. So when it's raining outside, you get in the car, then the seat ventilation goes on, but also a little bit, but just a tiny bit of the seat heating. So because warm air can transport the air away, it sucks up the air, and it even works in summertime, but just barely noticeable warm air. And yeah, looking forward how this is going to work. By the way, since we can't show you the panoramic roof, I can tell you that I have something like this above my head in the front here as headroom, so no problem as for headroom with 189 or 6'2" here in the front. And the voice control, either activated with an activation word or here at the steering wheel, and you could, for example, interact with the climate unit, like I'm cold, I'm hot. I'm hot? Or what about when I say I'm horny?
Search for hotel en route. Please select a POI from the list.
Yeah, that's what I need then, definitely.
Sorry, I don't know how to do that yet.
Yeah, I know.
Oh,
I'm glad it is that way.
still need to learn.
In the rear, plenty of legroom, although I am driving as a tall driver, and don't wonder, this rear bench is still covered because we can show you that at the official world premiere at the later stage. So again, stay subscribed if you want to see that. Also soft touch at the back part of the doors and nice ambient lighting integration. So also in the rear, the quality impression is pretty good. As for the headroom, there's also one thing we can't show you today, and that's the panoramic roof, or if you could just see that. No, I mean, we will show that to you also very soon. Not allowed here to do that today. But you can still fit a hand over my head with 1.89 m or 6'2". As for the trunk or the boot, the cool thing is this is a big hatch, so you can easily load things in and out, 530 liters. The width is a little bit disappointing, just like 95, 96 centimeters or like 37 inches, but the length is actually quite cool because that's more than 1 meter or 40 inches. And the height here underneath the cover, like 44 centimeters or 17 inches. We can also fold the seats right here, like this, and like this, and then we can have this loading through. And this is of course really long turn to the seats as we would be driving. That's like 185 or 73 inches. And underneath here we have some more space for the charging cables. And we cannot tell you the figure yet, but you will be able also to use this retractable towing hook. Welcome to Thomas's Driving Lounge with the VW ID7, and I want to show you the turning circle, turning all the way in. This is rear-wheel drive and it feels like turning on standstill. This is really amazing indeed. With here also the big camera image. Wow, this is super narrow for such a rather long vehicle indeed. And of course, rear-wheel drive gives us good punch out of the corners. And yeah, you sit relatively low, have a nice agile feeling. The steering wheel is actually good as for the natural feeling. It has no real dead zone area. You have to steer quite a lot, at least here in the normal mode, so it's rather laid out for comfort and driving straight and so on. This is here also equipped with the DCC, with the adaptive suspension, and at the moment I have set it on a rather comfortable note, and that the bumps are evened out right here. But the good thing is that it always rules in a certain spectrum. So if you set it comfortable, then you have like this spectrum. If you set it sport here, you also have like plus minus spectrum. That's of course really, really helpful. So, and I would say we do the first acceleration while also cornering out. Let's see how agile it is and how much control I can keep over that vehicle. And for that, we also go to the sport mode, and the DCC is also set a little bit stiffer. Let's go. Plop, that's 70 kilometers an hour. Really controlled feeling indeed. And that's of course the big advantage from the rear-wheel drive, or then if you have an all-wheel drive and still with the rear-wheel bias. Front-wheel driven vehicles, when they have a lot of power, they tend to get some understeer then, or you don't have too much control of the steering. But here I accelerated out while basically starting from a corner, and the car was super calm and collected at the same time. Really quick acceleration. So that's definitely sufficient power, not lacking that at all. Even though we are here in the sport mode for the DCC, it's still giving me a good feedback, but comfort at the same time. So you will have comfort and sportiness in all situations, basically. It's just then what you prefer, what you want to have. If you rather prefer a sportier setting or more comfortable one, but you can also use the individual setting to really fine tune it. Steering feeling wise, by the way, when in sport mode or in the comfort mode, gets a little bit lighter, so that I would prefer in the sport mode. What you can, for example, also do is that you set the suspension stiffer and the steering lighter, or you have more feedback from the steering but want a more comfortable suspension. This is what you can all do then in the individual mode actually. And I'm really surprised how agile this car feels, although it's that long. At the same time, it does not get uncomfortable. Remember here, the electric vehicles, they also have the battery pack in the center of the vehicle, keeps the center of gravity low. This also helps, and also accounts for the fact that the difference between EV sedans and EV SUVs is not as large in sporty driving as it would be with normal combustion engine SUV versus sedan, for example. I was not really sure how it plays out for the comfort before I was driving this one, because crossovers, SUVs, they tend to have higher seating position and so on, but the seats are really great and you also don't lose comfort. There are also actually surveys that people sometimes say that they have more comfort long-term and really long hauls with lower vehicles and not necessarily with the large SUVs. So EV sedan lovers will definitely get another competitor than here with this one. And at this moment, we're driving around 70 kilometers an hour, and it almost feels like nothing. The sound insulation is also really good. It's really, really silent in here. Hardly any tire noise, roll noise, wind noise. Also here, nothing at all. And this is not a super low speed. So this also speaks for the aerodynamics of the vehicle as well. Driving downhill now. What about recuperation? You either have the normal driving mode with, say, slight recuperation. You can always use the brake pedal for more recuperation, or you can switch it here around at the steering column. And this is going then to the B mode, and this is giving you a harsher or bigger deceleration, so more regenerative braking. It really depends. The efficiency will be the same no matter how you do it. It's just a difference. Do you want to go off the throttle and have a stronger deceleration, or do you rather want that rolling effect and want to decelerate the car yourself more with the brake? And I'm not quite sure which one I prefer. You can argue both ways and both can be understood. I think with the electric vehicles, always very important for the drivers, if you think about your passengers, that you move them in a smooth way, because they have strong acceleration, they have strong recuperation, and that might apply a lot of G-forces to the passengers. So you should drive as smooth as possible with the driver, and it is really very well possible with this one here. I see the head-up display in the line of sight has also a very clear display, and you don't have to look at the small instruments. Still glad to have them, because sometimes there might be bad vision or something for the head-up display when you're driving against a snow wall or something. Then you can still have the digital instruments right here and have a more, let's say, like a clearer view to them. Overall, I have to say, really surprised how agile the car is handling, although it has the size. And this can also be a good long-term EV sedan for long hauls or road trips or something. But also range-wise, well, at the very end of this driving part, we will tell you more about our concise energy consumption figure, and then can also calculate an approximate range both for the small and the big battery. That will, of course, be very, very interesting. And our test consumption here for today on a full loop at around 15 kilowatt hours on 100 kilometers. That's some 4 miles per kilowatt hour. That's really amazing. However, note that we have ideal conditions, just over 20 degrees Celsius, like 70 degrees Fahrenheit. So really good for EVs, and we could also use the topography changes indeed, but clearly more efficient than, for example, the ID.4. That's what we can already say so far. It's also more aerodynamic. And the real world range would then be, for the small battery, with this result here today, around 500 kilometers or 300 miles, and with the bigger battery, even more like 570 kilometers or 350 miles. Of course, we'll give you an update with, for example, faster Autobahn driving in Germany, or also worse condition temperature-wise. This will also feature a heat pump, yes, but so far, quite impressive result, even though we have to say ideal conditions, but already very promising indeed. And now check out our other Volkswagen EV videos, for example with the ID.4 or also the Ioniq 6, one of the competitors.